Welcome to the Mad Love Your Life show. I'm Mary D, the Joy Catalyst, here to be your host and transformation guide. Mad Love is about the mad, making a difference, and love is what we serve up to live a delicious life. My intention is to help you spark new ideas, break limiting beliefs, and align with your deepest dreams and desires. Get ready for laughter, inspiration, and finding your inner roar in every show. Hey everyone, it's so great to be back this season, and this session is I'm just so excited to bring it to you. I've got so much joy packed into it, so much intention. And this guy is one of my favorite people on the planet. He's super talented. He's a music producer. He has created, if you've listened and followed to my show for over the course of the last 3 years, he's actually been the magic behind some of my tracks. And he puts together these beautiful tracks for me every year. And we get together and get to have a session. And this is what he does. He just infuses magic in everything he does. And I cannot wait to break that down for you today. He is someone full of magic, which I mentioned. And I say that to you because I know that so many of you have magic in you. And it comes from the creative things that you actually want to do or are putting out in the world, but perhaps they haven't been seen yet or fully recognized. And this is going to be a really fun way for you to play with us today, for you to hear from another artist, and from you to hear from someone who really gets to just meet extraordinary people, who is an extraordinary person, and who's created really beautiful experiences and very intentional things into the music that is created and through the artistic process. So I'm super excited. I'm going to just bring him out now. Jamin VanDillen. We've been friends for so many years now. I'm so grateful to my good friend Mike Budney for introducing us and for you just being someone who's come into my life. I mean, I remember the time when you and your girlfriend came and stayed over with me at my lake house, and just having you around and just being in your energy and just the good human that you are. And so it's my pleasure and my honor to bring you out and just introduce you to the world today and let everyone just hear how you have blessed my life, but also just how you put out I can't give it another word other than magic, because I feel like encompasses really what you're able to capture. And so thank you for being on the show. And let's kick it off with, what do you know now that you wish you had known before you ever got started in this artistic process into music?
Wow, thanks so much for that introduction. I really appreciate it. This is like an honor to be on the show today. That's a great question. I think in terms of my process of producing and creating music, when I first started out, it was about writing songs and just kind of putting the beats together. But then there's this whole other art form where, you have to mix and master the song, where that sonic quality comes in and makes it sound so amazing. And, when I first started out, I was going to different studios and I was paying these different engineers to mix and master my tracks. And it was so crazy, the difference of what it would make. But then when I would go back home, it was just so hard to replicate that in my house. And that was frustrating, where I'd record my vocal or my music and I'd be really excited about it. But then when I'd hear it back, I'm like, oh, it sounds terrible. But as I learned and as I started working with big artists, when you just hear anybody really raw, most of them don't sound that great. It's all the reverb and the bells and whistles that make them sound amazing. So what I learned that was so helpful for me was when I started working with Grammy award-winning producers, I would ask them, I'd say, hey, can I take the template that you made my mixed and mastered track in, my song in? And they were like, sure. So I started doing this over time, and I made my own template, and now I'm able to record in, and I don't really I'm not the best mixing and mastering, but I've made this template to do the heavy lifting, and I can get good quality recordings really quickly. So this fast tracked my process incredibly, because I can instantly hear back to what the song was. It was 95% done. in
Wow.
terms of the mix and everything. So yeah, that changed the game for me. Like that, getting to hear myself back instantly with that clarity really like up leveled my confidence and everything in music. And so that's what's, if I had that back then, like it would be just a game changer for me. So now it's cool because I get to share that and teach people how to do that, and I give them my own template that I've made, and it's like people have these crazy breakthroughs in music. It's awesome.
Yes, yes, and yes, yes, and yes. And so when I think about you and I think about your artistic process, one of the things that I want to acknowledge you for and just tell you that has always sat with me as something that I thought is amazing is how you did this really intentional thing. And you did this, and I want to say you did it either over the pandemic or right before. I'm trying to remember when it was you did it, but you literally went and visited all these sacred sites, like all over the world, and you collected sounds. So when I think of going to the pyramids of Egypt, most people are like, "Oh, that's an epic vacation or that's an epic trip." And yes, and you went and you did some really, really intentional stuff of like grabbing the energy, like literally recording the sounds. So I would actually like to talk a little bit about that because I think that that level of intentionality says a lot. And I also think that it's it's really what like we're how you lean into your intuition and say, hey, let me go do that thing. So I'm curious to know, like, what got you there? Like, what made you say, let me go collect all of these sounds from all over the world? And like, what did that mean for you? I'm really curious because I feel like every creative has their process, and this one was super intentional around that. And I think that that would be something that people would love to hear about.
Yeah, sure. Well, it started before, I was making music for a long time, and I did the Hollywood thing for a little bit, and was disheartened with some of the shadiness, and that,
Mm.
as I kind of moved away from doing that, like being making music in that space, I kind of went on the spiritual journey route, and I really started getting into meditation music and just how powerful that is. And I learned about frequency. I learned how to take sacred geometry and create. They call it sonic geometry, where you can take the measurements of sacred geometry, which as we know, they are this. It's like the same. The circumference of the sun and like the distance from Earth to the sun is all locked in some of these sacred geometric figures. And I was like, that's incredible. So I just learned so much about that and was extremely fascinated. And what I knew as a recording, like a sound engineer, was that I can record the beach or the ocean in different parts of the world, and it's always going to have a different subset of frequencies. So when I started doing research about sound healing, it always led back to Greece, and it led back to Egypt because they would utilize sound healing. And one of the things that it was like a French engineer in the early 1900s or late 1800s. He was reading about all these people that would travel to the sacred sites and as we know, the sacred sites are on different ley lines and different things like that, and they hold an amazing energy. And all these people that would visit them, they would claim that they had healing and they had these incredible magical experiences. And so this guy went out to kind of to poo-poo that, but what he found was that all those sites, they emit and receive energy. So when I heard about that with my understanding of sound, I was like, wow, that's really interesting, because if that's the case, then I can capture that in an audio recording. And so that's what I set out to do. Is I was like, wow, I can create meditative music with all these cool frequencies that I've learned how to create with my computer. But then to take it to another level, I can actually record the like sonic subsets of frequencies inside the pyramids. I can record and recapture the energy outside. And so that fascinated me, and I just became obsessed. And I was like, I took all the money I had and I took a one-way ticket to Greece, and I was like, I lived in Greece for 6 months, and it was just incredible. Like I don't know if you know about ancient Delphi, but that was the place of that Apollo created. and he was the god of music. And so I had a place that was literally down the street. I walked there almost every day, and I would sit in all these areas. And I would, since I was there daily, I would find these secret spots, and I'd sneak into places, and I would just sit there, and I would absorb the energy, and I'd record the birds, I'd record the water. Like they had the Castilian Spring, which is a sacred spring water, which everybody that would go and visit the oracle would bathe in to cleanse themselves. I recorded that. I just recorded all this stuff, and it was like amazing. And then I would run back to my hotel room because I would get some inspiration, and I'd write a song, and I'd use the sound. So that's kind
That's
of like,
cool.
yeah.
That's so cool. Yes. And what I love is that you actually infused that into the last track that you did for me. So thank you so much for that, because that was super, super magical. I have to share with you all, I have been going through so much growth. And I mean, that's life. Life, at least where I live, that's what we do over here. But one of the beautiful things is I've been doing this really beautiful like relationship blueprint. And one of it includes like, what does it look like to like call in my person? And so much of it is just around the embodiment of like a healthy masculine. And it was beautiful because when Jamin sent me over this track, he infused the sounds of the water and was telling me the story of Delphi. And as he did, it was interesting to like have you share like your vision that came through, and then for me to share with you, I think, what my blueprint looked like and kind of like what the channeled kind of piece came together. And they were so similar, and so I just knew there was so much synergy there, and it felt really magical. So I'm so grateful for you, and that was just really timely and a lot of fun. And I always look forward to it when we get to put some music together. So that's amazing. I love that intentionality, and I love that it's something that is really unique and different. I think that's definitely one of your like unique pieces of how you do things and how you put stuff together and really tap into your intuition. And and it's such a gift. It is really a gift. I'm curious because obviously, working with stars, there's got to be so many stories. That I am a believer. I love Justin Bieber, and I know you have a Bieber mom story. So I would love to hear this story, and I think everyone would love to hear it as well. Like, let's talk about like surprises and delights that come along while you're making music.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I don't know why. It's kind of funny. I was just thinking earlier. I have a friend of mine. Like when I was younger, we used to party, and he'd always say like, I don't know why, but whenever we go to the party, somehow he'd always meet the person that had pot, and I'd meet the famous person at the party. Like I don't know why, but I'd always I'd always attract like the famous people. And this is so random. I was actually doing a 4-day training. It was called Breakthrough, and it's kind of like what's that other group training? It's real famous. Oh, my mind's going blank. You know what I'm talking about? The oh, it's super
Like
famous.
like a landmark, like one of
Yes,
those.
yes.
Okay.
Okay. The creator of Landmark and the creator of Breakthrough went to school together, and they kind of like they started off with this idea, and they both went different directions. So I didn't do Landmark, but I did the Breakthrough. So there's similarities. So anyways, it's like a group training. You know how it is. It's really intense. So the first day on sign up, I arrive, and there's this short girl, and we kind of like lock eyes, and we start talking, and I'm filling out to get my name badge and my credentials and stuff. And we then go into the training. And the first exercise that we do, we're in small groups of 5. There's about 45 or 50 people in the group, I think. And we did these small groups of 5, and there was one person who was facilitating that would say, okay, hey, say your name, talk about what you do. And so when I got up, I was like, "Oh, I'm Jamin. I make music and blah blah blah." And then she's kind of just like looking at me with these like twinkly eyes, and I was like, I could just tell there was like a connection there. And so at the end of the night, we ended up talking for like hours, and then Patty said, she's like, there's something that I want to tell you, but I don't want to tell you right now. Like I'll wait until the end. And I was like, okay. And then the next day, we end up talking for like 3 hours at night, and she's like, there's something I need to share with you about me, but I don't want to tell you right now. And at this point, I'm just like, well, what the frick, what the hell is it? And this happens again the third night. She's like, I'm going to tell you, but I can't tell you right now. And I was like, all right, fine. And so then the fourth night, we do this like really amazing exercise. And when we finish, and she was in my group, like facilitating it. When we finish it, she's like, come here, I want to show you something. And she brings over this book, and it's like Patti LaMeddy, the autobiography of Justin Bieber's mom. And I was like, what the fuck? This is crazy. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so it was really funny. So we ended up like hanging out. We were friends, and at the time, this is actually right when Justin had moved out of the house. So she was kind of like going through some
Mm.
separation, and then
Mm.
she shared things with me, but it's like it's not really a secret, like because she's written a book about it. But she's been through like a lot of trauma, like
Mm.
ridiculous amounts, if you know her story. So one night I came over to her house, and like, in those sessions, you really bond with people. So like we had like a really tight connection. I came over to her house one night, and there's this baby grand piano in the left. And when she comes in, she's like, oh, I need to show you something. Like she had been working with these life coaches, and they were like, hey, we want you to watch this music video. It was a music video with oh man, my mind's going. I think she sings the song "Since You've Been Gone." Who's that? You know what I'm talking about?
Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's like Kelly Clarkson or Carrie Underwood, one of those. So there's a song that she sings, and she's a little girl, and she's her walking the little girl through the house, and it's like through all this trauma, and she's like basically telling her it's
Mm.
going to be okay. So the life coaches had Patty watch that and then write down like what she felt, and then after that she wrote all these lyrics down, and she's like, oh, I have to show you these, read these lyrics. And I was like, holy shit, that's amazing. So like I felt that, like when you talk about how we drop into that magic, like I just felt something, and I like literally grabbed her hand, and I pulled her over to the piano, and I just started playing some chords. And I don't know if you know, but Patty is like an amazing singer. Like she's just never really stepped into that gift.
Yeah,
I just start playing some like random chords that I had learned recently, and she just starts killing it and going off like
I love it.
instantaneously. And yeah, I still have the recording. It was really cool. So that's like
Mm.
my Justin Bieber's mom story.
I love that. I love that. And it's such a beautiful story also about just the connection that happens in those spaces where we're being vulnerable, we're being open, and we're creating connection, and we're just really vibing with people in a place that feels safe, in a place that feels like we can, talk about these things. And I think that's super cool. Super cool. What a fun story. So we are going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to be right back in just a couple minutes. So hang on tight, and we're going to talk about Jamin's superpowers. Mm. Okay, Jamin. So all of us have a superpower that we have always had, but oftentimes we didn't know it was a superpower until we became adults. So, what is the superpower that you had as a kid that you didn't even realize was your superpower?
You know, I think the when I work with an artist, I have this kind of ability to like really tap into their essence and help them really draw out the expression. And there's a moment that I'll never forget, and it happened actually when I was 5 years old. I bought a CD of, do you know who Johnny Mathis is? He's like an old school like
Oh, yeah.
R&B singer from the
Yeah.
50s, 60s, even
Yeah.
70s. But yeah, I bought this CD as a young kid, and I put it in. I was 5 years old, and his songs are they're very sad. Like a lot of them are about heartbreak, and
Mm.
I just literally started crying, and I could just feel his pain and what he was going through, and I just remember that as like a defining moment of like I could really like empathize and just feel, and I could feel the authenticity in the sadness in the voice. So as a young age, as I was listening to music, I didn't realize it, but I was understanding like what a good vocal take is, and like how to like tap into that emotion, because we all like music that we like it because we feel it, you know. And if you don't resonate with it, it's because it's not being sung in the way that hits you that way, you know. And usually singers that are like up and coming, they're not at that level that they want to be. It's because they're not like willing to go to that place, and they just don't know how, you know. So
Mm.
that's like a space that I've been able to cultivate to help people to drop in where they just have incredible results, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so much to like what state are we in or what state is the artist in when they are delivering that music? What the state am I in when I get on the show and I set an intention for letting this reach the ears it needs to reach? Like, where are we, right? Where are we at in our body? Where are we at and what flows through? Because all of that is frequency. And I think that's exactly, what I hear you saying around that. And I think that's when music really moves us, is when we can capture the essence of what that artist has infused into that music, their state of mind, their state of being. The artists I know that I've really loved over time are the ones that wrote a lot of their own music, because I felt like there was just this stream of authenticity from kind of start to finish when they were, doing songs and creating those songs themselves. And I'm not saying that you can't sing someone else's music, but there is just something really special when there's something that hits because it's so personal to them, and you know that there's probably more to that story, that you're just getting the harmonic version that lasts 3 minutes versus there's probably there could be a whole lifetime of things packed into the music that they're bringing you or the words that they're singing. And that is the kind of flow that I know, for me anyway, that sticks. And it's one of those things where it's like when you can feel the music in your bones. And I think that's also why when we get those really great vibes, when we get those like upbeat songs, and I think of like EDM because it's got so many things infused in it so much of the time, and just the beauty of like the rhythm of wanting your body to move and what that feels like. I'm a really huge proponent of sound healing. So we've got, all my yogis out there are like sound bowl healing. Yes. Yes to that. And also just music in general can be so freaking healing. And I don't know that we've really unpacked or harnessed the full like power of what that is. I know through my journey of being, healed from cancer, that music was such a big piece of it. A big piece of it, from just listening to the things that make me feel good inside to actually getting on like sound frequency machines that are set to, help with healing and help with that process. And I know that there is a frequency of our voice that has like the ability to work on ourselves and work on others, and there's just so much infused into those pieces. And I feel like more people should talk about it. There's an app on my phone, and I don't know if I told you about this one, Jamin, but it's called, so funny, I open it every day and I don't even, it's called Evolutioneer. Evolutioner. So Evolutioner was built by these like NASA scientists, and it was an app by accident, because what was happening is they were studying sound frequencies like around like what happens in space and like how do we facilitate healing and all this kind of stuff. And they happened to sort of come upon the fact that there are frequencies that are super healing for people, and they ended up putting it into an app that busts out these tracks. And it's only like a 12-minute track, and they have like a daytime one and a nighttime one, because the frequency is slightly different if you're getting ready for bed versus if you're getting up for the day. But I found that one to be super magical, and also just a really great way to kick off my day and end my day on this like really beautiful frequency of like doing my gratitudes and leaning into just that feeling of what it feels like to just be so grateful, and to be able to just acknowledge like this existence and this life and this being, and just how much healing is caught up in that. And I think it's wonderful, because you are basically, you are a facilitator of feelings. You're a facilitator of healing. You're a facilitator of emotion, and you get to do it through this gift of, helping others put their music together, of you putting together music for yourself, and just that message and what goes out into the world. And I just think that is like, we need more of that. And it's a beautiful way for you to take your creativity and just do something really awesome and really good with it. So I want to high five you on that one and just say that I see you, and I think it really is magic, and I love that. I love that you facilitate magic. I want to talk about, when I think about artists and I think about folks that also entertain, because obviously there's a piece of entertainment that tends to happen with it as well. If when you look back on your life, what is it that you actually want to be remembered for?
That's a good question. I think yeah, it's nice to be able to touch lives in a positive way, and to do it with music is like, that's that's one of my most favorite things. I think what I've realized is that that song that you hear, if it touches you in that moment, like, it'll stay with you for the rest of your life. You're always going to
Mhm.
go back to listening to the song you listened to when you were in high school. Like, everybody has like their songs that they heard, and it stays with them. So I think that's to have that opportunity is super cool, and then to help other artists really truly express themselves in a positive way. I know that ripple is going to go out, and that's something to be remembered by. That's really cool to me, to
Yeah.
have that imprint.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much. Yeah, and thank you for you did a meditation track for me recently, which is a lot different than some of the stuff that we've put out before. And I want to thank you for that, because that's also, again, infused with this beautiful sound of water that trickles over. And I'm just like, oh, there's so much good energy in this music. And I'm curious, because I felt like that was something that, is newer in terms of what you've offered before. So let's talk about that. Like, where did that inspiration come from? And, like, I've watched you catch this wave of energy and just really harness it. It's really fun to watch. So talk to me about that process, because I think that sometimes, we hear about things like writer's block, and I'm sure that there's are things like your own level of whatever writer's block is when it comes to, music. And how do you harness those frequencies? How do you harness the energy of all of that? And what do you do when things feel a little quiet? Like, what's that look like too? What's the opposite?
Okay, yeah, cool question. Yeah, I think I started doing, like, I right now I'm focusing on like helping artists record their own music, and it could be like in people that just have lyrics that they have been wanting to write a song forever, and helping them bring that to life, or an artist that just wants to up level. And then, yeah, every once in a while, I don't know, I just get this calling, and I feel like there's an energy or something that I can provide for someone in musical form, like as a meditation to gift to them. And that's kind of that's what you were talking about, that you experience. And yeah, I don't know. It's like an energy that comes in for me, and then I'm able to use tools where I can kind of tap into that person's like energetic field, and I can kind of see like, okay, these are where blockages are, and then this is the
Mm.
type of frequency that they'll need. And that's something that I created when I went out to Greece and Egypt to make the music. And I was doing it like just in raw binaural beat frequencies, but now since I accompany it with music, it's like 50 times as more powerful. So that's like yeah, I don't know. That's like, you may get a call from me in a month or something saying, "Hey, I got this for you." Because this is something I don't advertise. Like, it just kind of comes at random. But yeah, it's super
Mm.
cool. Like, I just do it like, it's just like on a donation basis, but it's like free. Like, I don't know, like, it doesn't feel like it needs to have a price or anything on it, and that's why I
Mm.
just give it away. It's fun.
Yeah.
I love doing it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. So good. Yeah, so good, so rich, and I'm just blessed to be a recipient on this end of your magic when it shows up, and it's really fun to watch you get really inspired and to play. And so what happens when things are quiet? Do you have those moments, or is there some sort of practice that you have that gets your energy back into your creative flow? Or do you take breaks? Like, what's that look like?
Yeah, it's different every time for me. But I've noticed like I don't really believe in writer's block. I feel like that it's either it's just not the right time, or there's like something emotionally that we're not like addressing and facing, and that's
Mm.
why, like for me in terms of music, like that's always been the case for me. So I kind of don't, I don't know. It's like putting a label on like, oh, like I have this disease or something. Like I feel like at least I've seen, not everybody, but I've seen a lot of people where they just like, I have writer's block and like my life is screwed, and it's like it's not a disease. Like I think most of the time people are just, it's just not ready. Like you're just forcing something, it's not ready to come out. You know, like it's like trying to have a baby when you're like 3 months in. You're like, I want it now. You know. But yeah, so for me, so in terms of like my specific process, it's like it's either if it's quiet, like I'll get quiet, you know, like I need to just chill. And then there's sometimes too where like I force it through, like it's but there's like there's an intuition on like what is really there for me, which I follow the best I can, and I usually have amazing results, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think too many times when things do get quiet and it's an opportunity to reset, or it's an opportunity for us to lean in to the quietness, that oftentimes we don't do that because we think we're supposed to be moving and grooving all the time, or we always think we're always supposed to be on the wave all the time. But that's not how it works, right? Like even the waves of the ocean, they don't continue and continue. Eventually they hit the shore and they dissipate for a little bit, and then the next wave comes. And I think there's it's such a gift to be able to lean into knowing when to ride the wave, and also when to sit in the calm of the quietness, and to sit with whatever's showing up in those times, whether that's rest or whether that's just a reset. There's so many beautiful times where the quietness and the stillness is actually where so much of the inspiration can come from, and can prepare us for that next big wave and that next big, ooh, this is my where I'm really feeling the energy of diving into this thing fully. When it comes to your own personal, like, habits and your own personal development, like, let's talk about that, because what has been the evolution of you of you as like a human and an artist and a person? So aside from even the music, like, what evolution do you feel like you've gone through that's also given you the edge that's just naturally translated over into the work that you do in the world?
You know, recently I'm at heart like a kind of a flowy person in terms of like I didn't keep a strict schedule, but over the past 6 months I've made some really big changes, and I have like literally every day I'm doing things that I'm knocking out, and I have different habits, and like I've created like non-negotiables that I just have to do no matter what, and that's been really, that actually has lended a lot to creating more space for creativity, which is like, it's weird because I'm doing like probably 10 times as more things that I did before, but I somehow I have the space for it. So it that's been a really cool evolution for me. And it's also helped me to just kind of keep my mindset more positive. And I've just shifted a lot and noticed a lot of things that I was doing that just got myself into like bad, like just bad thought process, just shitty habits, you know, that weren't really benefiting me. And I had really no idea because I was kind of on autopilot. So now doing more of these habits has just really changed so much for me. And it's changed, I think too, you know, it's changed my creativity in a way where like I've actually had to let go in a lot of ways and learn a new form of it. It's like another evolution within my creativity. It's not, I didn't lose what I had, but it's just different, and it's different in a cool way. And it's just now I'm learning to like step into that even more, and it's been really fun. I love it.
That's so good. That's so good. What would you say are some of the, like, what's one habit you can share with us that has made like a huge difference for you, that has helped with that shift?
Definitely working out consistently.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah, the physical aspect.
working out consistently has been really huge. Um, Also, I do I do this. I had this coach. I went through like a really terrible breakup in a bad betrayal, and I had a coach that works with narcissistic abuse, and she's amazing, and she created this book. It's like it's called Rescue Yourself. It's a free PDF actually, and it teaches you like kind of how to like self regulate your system. So if you've been through some past trauma or whatever, like your upbringing, um, you like tend to not listen to your intuition, and you like have to kind of learn how to like course correct the self regulation. So I do this
Mm.
one exercise daily, and it's made a huge difference. And I've done it for almost like 225 days now, and it's made the biggest difference. So it's like, I don't know if you're ever like triggered or something pisses you off, this is something that you would do. But I just started doing it every day, even if I didn't have something that really upset me. And it's cool because it's like I've been able to go like, I don't know if something triggers you and you're like really pissed off, you're like, oh my god, like I'm in this like really bad state. But you do this a bunch of times, and it's helped me to unravel like just these little minute things that might have upset me, that I would have had no idea, but it was just so minuscule that I would have like buried it. But it's like you do that like 10 or 15 times, and then it becomes a big thing. So doing this consistently has been really huge for me.
That's amazing. That's really cool. Yeah, and for you guys listening, as you think about those things that show up for you, especially if they show up on a daily basis, they say we have like thousands and thousands and thousands of thoughts a day, and oftentimes they are the same similar thoughts that we had the day before. So what are those thoughts that are, rolling around your brain? What kind of mental gymnastics are you doing? Because what happens is whatever your response is. So if you're feeling, let's just pretend, I don't know, you have a neighbor who comes out and honks his horn every morning at 6 a.m. And that's his little, honk honk when he leaves for the day. It's just a thing he does. And it's irritating and annoying and it triggers you. But you don't say anything about it, but this happens every day. It's basically knocking your system in this way of creating tension in your body and stress in your body in a way that doesn't feel good. And so if you have that response, the response of like, or I'm angry or I'm upset, like whatever the anxiety that shows up for you, whatever that frustration that is that shows up for you, you're basically training your body. And so what happens is you could also be randomly in the middle of the day in the parking lot and someone honks their horn, and your body is going to feel that tension just like it does in the morning when you're triggered, because you're training your brain, you're training your body on how to respond. And so what Jamin is talking about is having a practice. And a lot of times that's breath work, which is a great one. You want something somatic, so something that like gets you into your body, that helps you rewire how you're reacting to life. And that's really it. It's like life is such a lesson in how are we reacting and responding to life and how it's showing up. So when those things happen to you, whether it's people, whether it's things, whether it's your own thoughts, your own situation of what's happening in your life, how are you training yourself, number one, to respond? And number two, for the things that if you don't want to respond in frustration and you don't want to respond in anxiety, then what are those tools that you can develop and collect that will help you rewire your system so that you don't respond to, the horn in that same frustrating way or that same stressful way in your body again. And that's a little bit of the work that we do here at the Mad Love Agency. So if you've ever coached with me, then you'll know that that's something we include in what we do, because that nervous system regulation is so, so important. And I loved hearing you talk about that, Jamin, because too many times we're not given those tools. No one really teaches us those things. I know that when I was younger, there was a teacher who was trying to actually do some yoga and breath work with her class. She wouldn't do like the full blown, hour with these fifth graders, but she was trying to infuse a little bit of it because she knew about the practice of being able to help these kids get centered, helping them learn how to breathe. And I was so sad because it created this big like controversy, because you had some parents who were very like ultra like right wing, like no yoga, we only do church things, teach them how to pray, that's the only thing we teach them how to do here. And it was such a disservice because it was like, oh, if they only understood just the power of getting back to your breath. This teacher isn't teaching them religion. She's not teaching them what to believe. She's just showing them how to help regulate their nervous system. And that's such a gift if we can help give that to others. And so for those of you who are like, oh, okay, got it. I would encourage you to open your mind around things like that. It doesn't have to be yoga, but it can be something like breath work, because that's what we do, y'all. We breathe, we do it subconsciously without needing someone to show us how. But it's amazing what happens when you breathe consciously. It will literally can change the trajectory of your day and the how you feel when stressful situations show up in your life. So that's a really good gift. What is her name again, Jamin? Just so that I know people are listening and they're like, ooh, who's that again?
Meredith Marie Miller.
Nice. And she's got that free PDF for folks if you guys want to
Yeah,
hop in
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. She's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, she's
Awesome.
amazing.
I love that.
Actually,
I love good
she
coaches.
has a new book coming out too. Actually, she did a big study on like the traumatic response to like COVID and how that's like
Mm,
really affected people. Like yeah,
yes.
she's amazing. Like she's literally changed my life. Like I've worked with her for like since 20, like the end of 2021, and it's been
Cool.
like I feel like I'm way it's just such a different person. So
That's so beautiful. That's really beautiful. Yeah. Now I'm like, ooh, I think I have to have her on the show.
yeah, definitely. I'll tell her. I'll tell her.
Yeah, yeah, please make the intro. That's amazing. Very cool. Well, let's talk about your course, because you have a course. You're in addition to obviously producing, you actually help people uh, learn how to do this for themselves, and that's also a gift. I've had a good friend of mine who her son is really into music, and he's definitely someone who's got a gift, and you've done some work with him. So thank you for that. And I just saw like how much it lit him up, and just what a gift it was for him to have another person who's so musically inclined, just really see him and work with him to get his music out into the world. So let's talk about recording Alchemy, and let's talk about who that's for, and what changes it can make for folks.
Yeah, so I have a business called Recording Alchemy, and I basically work with rappers, artists who are, wanting to learn how to like professionally record at their home. And I provide them with my template that I've spoken about that is like completely pre-mixed and mastered. So it takes so much of the guesswork out of it. And you record your vocals into a track and it instantly has all the bells and whistles on it. So you get to hear yourself back sounding really amazing, which is so cool. So that's included in the course. And I have a group course, which is every Saturday. And then I also do one-on-one. And then if someone just wants to like fly out to me and we spend a couple days together in this incredible studio that I am working out of in Mexico, you're welcome to come down here. That's an option as well too. And if anybody wants, I wanted to just offer on this show today to do like a free 30-minute session so we can go over your music. I can show you some tips on how to record. We can do whatever you want to do and we'll just kind of unpack what's there and see what's up.
I love that. I love that. We'll drop your info in the show notes so people have that. But Jamin, do you want to tell them the easiest way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can reach out to me on Instagram. My handle is Jamin JaminVanDillen _. You can send me a message there, or you can just go to my website. It's recordingalchemy.com.
I love that. Recordingalchemy.com. Yay. Awesome. And that's super generous. Yeah. And you guys, it is a gift to do a session with Jamin. He's just an awesome human to know. He's got so much knowledge and he's got some great content, actually. I remember, gosh, maybe was it in the last year, just talking about the different like so many of the stories behind music, which I think is a lot of fun. And so that's the other thing is Jamin's so like in tune with what is happening in the world of music and just knowing like what's going on behind the scenes. And there's some really fun stories, and there's fun stories about just songs and how songs get made and how people are sitting around a campfire, or they did a massive dose of mushrooms, or they did a dark retreat and came out of it and wrote an amazing award-winning song. Like there's so many different different ways that people get inspired and end up bringing you and I that music that we get to be entertained with, that we get to be uplifted with, and that we get to, get in the feels with. This is a timely week, Jamin, because I got this text from this old guy that I used to date. And I laugh because every year he pings me at least once a year, and I decide whether I'm going to respond or not. But he used to reply to me in music lyrics. Like, he would send a song over about whatever he wanted to communicate. And that's why I
What
had to
is
end it. I
it?
was like, it was just too much. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this poor guy can't find the words. So he goes and finds a song. And basically the song, reflects what he's trying to say. And it was funny at first, but then it was like, it would be really like serious stuff. And then it would come over and I'd be like, oh yeah, no, I can't do this. But I was like, that's a great example of someone actually capturing the music and, shooting it over. I'm like, oh, why say the words when someone else already has and they've done such a good job of it?
That's really funny.
I know. Oh, that's totally what that reminded me of. Amazing. Well, Jamin, thank you so much for being our guest here today. Thank you for being a great friend and for putting out your music and your magic in the world, and for teaching others how to harness their own creative energy. It really, really is. It's needed, and it's such a beautiful way to help people, get their creative juices flowing and also tap into their creativity to put out really, really great music and great lyrics into the world that we all get to savor. So thanks again. All right, y'all. That is today's live show. If you want more, we have more exclusive content over on our Mad Love Your Life Show YouTube channel. And you can get more love. You can get more mad love that's available to you by finding me at maryd.com. So until next time, may abundance always walk beside you. May joy always go before you. And may love always guide you on your path. Thank you for tuning in to today's show. We air live every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Bold Brave TV. We hope to see you back next week. For more ways to connect with my guests, content, programs, and retreats, just head over to www.maryd.com and subscribe. That's MARYDEE.com.